All right, what's going on? We're joined with Adrian of Yoke Lore. How's it going, man?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So first and foremost, sometimes I hear you refer to yourself as Adrian of Yoke Lore, and sometimes I hear you refer to yourself as Yolklore.
It's true.
What do you prefer? Like, is Yolklore a person? Is it a band?
I think it's kind of like a character that I play.
Okay.
Not as theatrical as most characters, but I feel like when I step on stage, I have to kind of embody something a little bit larger than Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to kind of like step into a new identity, and I think I call that identity Yolklore.
Interesting. Are there steps you have to take to like harness that identity before the stage?
No, honestly, I think it's like a real reaction to being in front of people being like, you know, when the lights are down low and there's like 1,000 people in front of you.
Yeah.
I think I don't feel so much like myself because I don't know, I'm a little like introverted. I'm like a writer, and I like to like have things like quiet and like personal. But when I'm up there, I can't be introverted and quiet and personal, you know?
Really no choice.
Exactly. And so I have to kind of like step into something else besides myself.
Okay. Well, you killed it. This is my first time. Long-time listener, first-time viewer.
That's awesome.
And it was awesome. I was just telling you, it was like the perfect time of day as well.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I needed.
Did the live show like measured up, you think?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Okay, good.
I'm curious, though, because obviously this is only the second night of the U.S. leg of the Holy Havoc Tour.
Yeah.
Congrats on another tour run. How are we feeling ahead of the rest of the tour?
Feeling pretty good. You know, this is our second night of the tour, but first show was like, there was some kinks to work out, you know? And then today was a kind of different situation because it's a festival. But, you know, being on the road and playing like new songs and promoting a new album, it's like there's so much to do, and we're so busy. Like I have no time to like have feelings about it. I'm just going. You're just like going. So I'm excited. I'm invigorated. I'm ready to go.
Are you going in like a presence sense? Like, are you super present, or are you like really looking forward? Would you say?
I think there's a type of like tour is a treadmill. There's no stopping, you know? And so you kind of have to like find ways to be present amidst the flux of tour, which is just constant and continual.
Yeah.
And there are like ways I do that. I always bring some books and like at the end of the night, like try to read before bed and get back to myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of it is giving. A lot of it is output, you know? A lot of it is extending yourself and trying to be as generous as you can. So I think it's not so much about, you know, me, but I try to focus on the wider world and who I'm doing this for, you know?
Interesting. Okay. And you're doing it for the fans, I imagine?
Yeah.
You alluded to your debut studio album.
Yeah.
Sort of never-ending new beginning. First and foremost, you've been releasing music for quite some time.
Yeah.
Why is now the time for the debut LP?
I mean, a couple of reasons. I feel like I've been releasing EPs and singles for so long just because that's kind of like how people listen to music these days, more so. Like smaller, more digestible configurations are a bit easier. And when I was just starting out, it's expensive, you know? Making music is not cheap. And so it was much more viable and much more doable to just like have these little offerings that I could give people, rather than trying to, you know, invest in a huge big project. So part of it's like climate, part of it's financial, I'm just terrified. Part of it is just fear.
Really?
Yeah, it's like it's a big thing. Like
you're making a statement.
Exactly.
For sure.
It's making a statement. You really got to say something. You really have to like kind of bring an identity to the fore, and have that identity be really full and dynamic, you know? And I kind of haven't felt like I've been ready to do that yet. And this year last year when I was making it, I was like, you know, it's time. It's time.
So if I can ask, obviously it's not out yet, what is it that you're hoping to say?
Well, Toward a Never-Ending New Beginning is a kind of like challenge to everyone and myself. There's an idea in Yolklore that like constant change is like the only constant that there is. and you either got to get on board or you'll be left behind. And Toward a Never-Ending New Beginning is kind of a challenge to myself to keep changing, keep finding the horizon, keep finding a new way to say things and express things. And there's a development and growing and maturation has to be conscious and has to be like committed to. Mm-hmm. I think like all beautiful change really happens through persistence, not so much like talent or luck, but just like real persistence.
And that's definitely what is like the hardest.
Yeah.
It's harder than being talented or being luck, is being persistent or being lucky rather.
Totally. Committing to the change and committing to like really working with the world and not against it.
Okay. Wow. That made me really excited for the release.
Yeah, me too.
So that being said, I know you're busy. You're on tour right now, so I'm going to let you go do your thing. But I've got to mention, I saw that you helped Nick Kroll change a tire in the middle of the desert. Can you explain that to me? Because that seems so hilarious.
So I was doing a photo shoot in Montecito Heights, and we were changing locations. We walked outside, and I was in my car, actually, with my manager, Danny. And I guess Nick Kroll's wife, his very pregnant wife, came over to us, and she was like, "Hey, do you guys know how to change a tire?" And we were like, "Yeah, of course, we'll change the tire for you." And so we go back to her car, and there's like a guy standing against the tree reading like the manual. And so I get under the car, and I'm like looking for a place to put the jack. And he comes over, and he's like, "I think you got to put it under the crossbar." And I pull my head out of the car, and I'm like, "What the fuck? Nick Kroll? Are you serious?" He was super sweet, super nice guy. Not very automotively, skilled, but,
He doesn't need to be. He's got you around, clearly.
I'll be there anytime he needs some automotive assistance.
Yeah, that was a crossover I was not expecting.
I know, he's a super sweet guy. He was like, it was a real group effort. It wasn't just me, but yeah, it was a really, like, wild, serendipitous experience.
Yeah, that's so funny, especially the location kind of being so remote.
It was just on the side of the road. It was wild.
Oh, I love it. So before we go, I just like to wrap up every interview rather with this question. Beyond music, beyond your career, what are some goals you have for the next year?
Man, beyond music, beyond my career, what are some goals? I'm a big reader. I want to read more books than I read last year. I also want to, a lot of times when I'm making music, I don't listen to a lot of music.
Yeah.
It's difficult for me to, split myself like that. And so I really want to, get back into listening to music now. Now that I'm done with the album, I want to, I need to, after so much output, I need input. Yeah. So I want to just listen to music this year.
Do you get artists who are I've been trying to catch them and I just keep forgetting to listen to them?
Yes. I just actually listened to Josh's new record, Cautious Clay's new record.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that record. I'm a huge fan of Cautious.
Sweet. Maybe you guys get a collab going. Start networking while you're here.
That would be so cool.
Well, Adrian, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate your time.
Thank you much.